Just an update for everybody who may not know what's going on with me. I've decided to leave the country, and after deliberating on a few different plans and figuring out where things might be best, I decided to come to the United Kingdom, which has been a huge mistake, I must say.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to react to a couple of interesting takes on the whole Supreme Court ruling in the UK. The first one is an American who identifies as trans who decided to flee to the UK. Now that doesn't surprise me because the UK has a Prime Minister who was scared to say that only women can have a cervix.
Is it transphobic to say only women have a cervix?
Well, it is something that shouldn't be said. It is not right. But Andrew, I don't think that...
So Rosie Duffield should not have said that. Can you explain to people watching why she should not have said that?
Well, Andrew, I don't think that we can just go through various things that people have said. Rosie Duffield, I spoke to Rosie earlier this week and told her that conference was a safe place for her to come, and it is a safe place for her to come.
So we had Dylan Mulvaney talking about considering moving to the UK, and we have this person who actually did go to the UK with the intent of living there, but is now regretting it. So I want to react to this person's video, this person's update, and then I'm going to react to an interview with Talk TV, Julia Hartley Brewer, interviewing a trans activist who was so offended at the UK Supreme Court ruling that simply acknowledged that when the Equality Act was written, it was written with people who are either male or female in mind, biologically male or female, not imaginary. So I'm going to react to both, but before we do that, let's have a word from our sponsor. Recently, there have been a number of high-profile breaches raising serious concerns about personal information security. A letter or email informing you that your data has been breached is alarming, and many of us have experienced this. Ticketmaster experienced a massive breach, compromising over 560 million customer records. But most alarming of all, just a few months ago, National Public Data announced that it had suffered a major breach that could potentially impact every American. The incident compromised over 2.9 billion records used for background checks, including critical personal information such as full names, addresses, dates of birth, phone numbers, and most importantly, social security numbers. It has been confirmed that members of the hacker group have released this personal information online for free. Thankfully, this is not something I worry about anymore because I use Aura, today's sponsor. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, across billions of data points like the dark web and public court records to alert you about potential identity theft. They also provide up to $5 million in identity theft insurance in case the worst happens. Plus, Aura offers a variety of other features to keep you safe online, including real-time alerts for data breaches, a VPN for secure browsing, a data broker opt-out to stop companies from selling your personal information, a password manager to help you create and store strong passwords, and more. I'm not leaving myself and my family vulnerable to data breaches, and if you don't want to either, you can go to aura.com/IronBritUSA to try 2 weeks for free. That will be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data is exposed. That's aura.com/IronBritUSA to secure your data today.
Just an update for everybody who may not know what's going on with me. I've decided to leave the country, and after deliberating on a few different plans and figuring out where things might be best, I decided to come to the United Kingdom, which has been a huge mistake, I must say. Not only the April 16th law that passed invalidating trans people's genders and the 2010 Equality Act has transpired. When I first got here, things seemed pretty okay and warm, welcoming, and a lot of support, but something about the United Kingdom that I've noticed, and from speaking to other people as well as what's happened with Brexit, tensions shift very quickly when laws change.
Don't believe that for a second. Sorry. Don't believe that for a second. The laws haven't changed. The Supreme Court just provided clarification because people took it upon themselves to basically try to rewrite the law and put their own spin on it. Gender identity was never a factor when it came to the Equality Act in 2010. It was written on the basis that you're either male or female. So everybody receives sex-based rights. What the judges simply said, what they clarified, is that having a piece of paper doesn't afford you sex-based rights as a woman when you are in fact male. And the judge was very quick to stress that you still have rights. No one's taking away your rights, but it's based on reality. It's based on whether you are either male or female. The judge didn't create a new law. They simply reinforced the current law and ensured that we get back to reality rather than playing pretend at the expense of women and girls. Now, I find it hard to believe that a judge offering clarification on the Equality Act has suddenly made people unwelcoming and unkind. I find that hard to believe. It's you who are not happy with the recent ruling, and you've decided that you feel personally attacked. If people are welcoming, why would they suddenly not be welcoming anymore? At least now, under the law, we can say that women deserve their own spaces, that women deserve their own sports, that the Equality Act affords them those things on the basis of sex. So there's legal recourse when it comes to these matters. And if that offends you, if that makes you feel personally attacked, then that's on you. Nothing has changed. We've always been either male or female. And thankfully, the courts have acknowledged that now. You know what a personal attack is? When a group of hardworking nurses don't have anywhere to change because they don't want to change and get undressed in front of a man. That's a personal attack. And having their job threatened because they object to that, that is a personal attack. A personal attack is when a nurse gets suspended because she refers to a man as sir, politely referring to this person as sir. She gets suspended even though this person subjected her to racial abuse. It's her who is punished for misgendering. A personal attack is a little girl going into a bathroom and getting assaulted by a male student who was allowed to go into that bathroom simply because of his so-called identity. Women getting assaulted in what should be their private spaces. That's a personal attack. Not you having your feelings hurt because a court acknowledges biology.
And found myself not welcome in places I was welcome just upon my initial arrival here very quickly. It's been quite terrifying, quite traumatizing. Literally, about an hour ago, I was assaulted by 3 men on the London Underground who tried to steal my phone and my bag. I don't really know what to do. The people that I trusted here to come with are not reliable, to say the least. But I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, to be honest, at the moment. I'm kind of trying to figure out what to do with myself and what to do next, but this has been a rather treacherous time. Yet again, things have been less than ideal, and, well, yeah, I'm not really sure what to do, but just wanted to give an update to everybody on what's been going on. I mean, I was able to leave the country, but as far as what country to go to and how to fund it and all of that, I mean, can't not legally work here. Not a lot of options. It hasn't been the best, but I'm surviving and doing my best to stand by as best I can. But that's kind of the reality. What's going on here?
So as far as I'm concerned, people are there minding their own business. Nobody is harassing you because you're trans, but you decide to take offence upon yourself because of a court ruling. And the reality is crime happens, much more so under certain leadership where it comes to soft on crime policies. We're seeing crime increase everywhere where these policies exist. So I don't like to hear of anybody being a victim of crime, but let's not attribute it to, the Supreme Court ruling. I find that hard to believe.
And it's lovely to have you back in the studio. Last time you were here, you were a bit cross with me, and it went rather viral because I referred to you as she and her because you are a woman. You identify as, I believe, non-binary.
Apparently it's debatable if she's a woman because you see her response there. She's like, oh, well, yeah, I don't know how we got here. I really don't. You can't even say that someone who is clearly female is a woman anymore. It's offensive to acknowledge somebody's biological sex these days.
Prefer the pronouns they, them. And
whichever one's the scariest.
You took me to task for for using what I believe were your correct pronouns. Does that landmark ruling by the Supreme Court change anything for you?
Well, so first of all, thanks for having me, Julia.
Always welcome.
Lovely to speak to you. Friends call me Shiv, so Shivani, Shiv, whatever pronouns
Shiv.
scare you the most are fine for me. And I kind of want to say, I wrote you something, because obviously this is a huge topic. It's a few sentences, if you let me say what I want to say. In years to come, I believe this decision by the Supreme Court will be considered shameful. Women are, in my opinion, beyond description or categorisation. Women are funny, knowledgeable, powerful, strong, and in my experience with trans women, they're kind. Trans people are not your enemy, and women are marginalised within our society already here in the UK. Defining women by their sort of biological functions or their appearance has never helped any woman ever. Isn't that what the suffragettes were sort of fighting against in the first place? The ruling and this discussion entirety kind of is resulting in a distraction from the sort of disturbing reality that we're living through, which is, the facts are, the UK has an emboldened far-right population, our government is fueling a genocide, violence against women and girls has shot through the roof, and spoiler alert, it's not because of trans women. The LGBT community is most likely to experience abuse, addiction, homelessness than the straight community, and within that, those who suffer the most are women, they are trans women. These are women who make me personally feel safe. They're the ones that I want to dance with at 2 a.m. in the morning and watch football with on a Sunday afternoon. The law can define a woman however it wants. You can call whoever you want, whatever pronouns you want, but what are you really going to do? Are you going to make people cis or trans carry ID with them so that they have to prove who they are? Because to me, that sounds like 1930s Germany.
What? Wow. If only the judges had heard this speech, maybe the outcome would have been different. Sorry. Where was she in court? Thank goodness the judges were able to think objectively and just objectively defined what it means to be a woman according to the Equality Act. And they've literally tried to make us offended at our own biology. They've tried to make biology offensive for the longest time. Many people have fallen for it.
If I were to call this out for the BS that it is, and if I were to swear on air, I would be in more trouble personally than any bigoted politician or presenter that has ever played a part to further marginalise this already vulnerable community.
Right.
Despite the years and even decades that some broadcasters have dedicated to vile and hateful dog whistles about communities that bring so much joy and happiness and creativity to the world and this country, I just think that the people who are celebrating this with their bottles of champagne are going to look back, or hopefully we are going to look back at them and think that it's actually quite dark and quite disturbing that what they are celebrating is a separation of vulnerable people from society who are not going to be able to access the services that they need to access.
No matter how much she says vulnerable, you cannot convince me that these are the vulnerable ones. The vulnerable ones are the women, are the biological females who have had their private spaces stripped from them, not the convicted predator in a women's prison who has now been given access to women. He is not the vulnerable one. No matter how many times she uses the word vulnerable, they are the ones who are typically physically stronger than a woman, taller, bigger. These men can overpower most women who they come across. And statistically, there is no difference in the crimes that men commit and the crimes that men who identify as women commit. They commit crime at the same rate. They're not suddenly innocent just because they identify as women. And to say otherwise is actually a very dangerous message to give to women, and certainly girls, that they can let their guard down now just because this person supposedly identifies as a woman. So Julia is now going to respond, and apparently Julia's response is so offensive that this person decides to walk off.
There's a lot to unpick there. Are you including me, just out of interest, in the vile and hateful dog whistle broadcasters?
It's a self-ID situation. If you feel you sit into that...
No, well, I don't, obviously, because I've not been hateful about anyone who's trans
if
or...
You, right, if you
so do you? I'm asking you.
It's not for me to put you in a category.
It's not for you. Okay. Right, here we go. Right, you say it's shameful. You think this in the future will be regarded as shameful. I mean, you obviously think it's shameful now. And trans activists, many of them argue it is. Right?
I'm not a trans activist. I'm just a person.
But I'm talking about many trans activists. I wasn't including that. When you say women are beyond description and categorisation, well, no, I mean, that's like saying, well, a table or a dog is beyond description and characterization. We have words, and words are only useful as an ability to communicate between human beings because we all agree what those words mean. So if I hold up this navy blue mug and say that's orange, and use one of those, we have to be using words that have the same meaning. It's navy blue. So when I say it's navy blue, then you have to understand that as the same thing as I understand that. Otherwise, it's a meaningless conversation. So when we have a conversation about what is a woman, we need to all know what we mean by that. Now, it's your view and the view of many activists, I'm not saying you are, and many activists, that women has a number of different categories. People who were born women and are women, and men who believe that they are women or have a piece of paper saying they are women. The Supreme Court was very, very clear.
Yeah.
Wow, look at her face. What is Julia saying that is so offensive? I mean, this is the epitome of the truth hurts.
They're saying not only is the law now, they're saying it has always been the case that because you have a piece of paper, even a piece of paper, a gender recognition certificate, saying that you are legally a woman if you're born a man, you are not in fact a woman. Do you not accept that, or do you accept that ruling?
I mean, like that's whatever. Like,
no,
for
that's
me,
not an answer to a question.
Let me finish
You're not
my
a 12-year-old.
Let me finish my sentence. That is to me whatever, because for me and my community, trans women are women. They have always existed. They will always continue to exist.
What does that mean? They've existed.
Well,
no one's saying they're figments of imagination.
Yeah, but we are saying that they're women.
No, saying they exist is not the same as saying they're women.
Well, I'm saying that they're women.
And that's not the same as saying they exist.
If the law doesn't want to...
Well, no, so we need to use words that have meaning.
Well, here's the words that have the meaning, because I've spent time to write these words, right, for you.
And we listen to them.
Frankly, I would rather share a bathroom with 100 trans women than one legal biological woman who wants to know what's inside my pants. And Julia, if I'm right in remembering, you did ask me what my genitals look like once live on TV.
I think that was in the context of a conversation and you raised that issue
yourself. I remember the quote. You don't have dangly bits, do you? So do you want to discuss dangly bits or not? Because frankly, I am now feeling in a position where I'm in a room with you and I feel unsafe. Yeah.
You feel unsafe?
I feel unsafe. I feel my heart racing. My hands are starting to sweat. Do you want to touch my hand? Just clammy now. Okay. And I actually think I'm about to have a panic attack from sitting in a room with you. So I'd like to leave now.
What?
Yeah.
So you're feeling... Yeah, you were asked to come on the show to have a conversation.
And I've had a conversation.
We had a very nice...
We've had a conversation.
Well, you read out a statement, and now I'd like to ask you some questions. You read out your statement.
Julia said that a piece of paper doesn't make a man a woman. That's it. So now she doesn't feel safe because Julia is acknowledging and reminding her of biological facts.
But you did at the beginning.
Out a statement. No, that's me introducing the topic for people who are just tuning in and
you added your ad-libs. You got to say what you thought about it. I've said my piece, and now I'd really like to go.
I thought you actually plugged into a mic there. I thought we were going to have a conversation.
And she's off, and there she goes. And I think that's pretty symbolic of where we are today. People just can't handle facts. People can't handle the truth. That a man can never be a woman, and that our sex-based rights, in the UK at least, are based on biology, not how you want people to see you. Some people are still unable to handle that. Very, very sad. They'll be happy for our law to be completely adulterated with gender ideology. So again, thank goodness, like I say, the Supreme Court ruling is not just a win for women, it is a win for the law. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.